Welcome to CAN, Caribbean Affiliate News. My name is Siobhan Gobin. Here are the stories that we're following today, August 30th, 2013. In international news, fast food workers strike over low pay rates in the U.S. France's Hollande backs U.S. on Syria action. Crews look to continue progress against Yosemite fire. And a Mexican judge a fight during a court case. Details on these headlines and more when we return.
5 million customers use Leica Mobile for affordable international mobile calls, connecting over 2.5 million mobile calls daily, helping our customers stay in touch with their loved ones, whether they be in Asia, Africa, Europe, or the rest of the world. Every 5 seconds, a new Leica Mobile customer joins our growing family, helping you to make affordable international calls across the world. Leica Mobile. Call the world for less.
Welcome back to CAN, Caribbean Affiliate News. My name is Siobhan Gobin. This segment of the news is sponsored by Leica Mobile. Fast food workers in dozens of U.S. cities are on strike, union leaders say, in what could be one of the industry's biggest walkouts. Workers want to be paid $15 an hour, double the rate for many employees at fast food chains. In New York City, about 300 protesters flooded into a McDonald's near the Empire State Building. The strike comes amid calls by President Barack Obama and some lawmakers to raise the U.S. minimum wage. Those members of Congress suggest bringing the current rate up to $9 an hour from $7.25 previously set in 2009. Labor Secretary Thomas Perez, who is taking a lead role in the Obama administration's minimum wage push, said, and I quote, "For all too many people working minimum wage jobs, the rungs on the ladder of opportunity are feeling further and further apart." In addition to a walkout at fast food chains in 60 cities, including New York, Chicago, and Detroit, employees at retail firms in some cities were expected to join, says union leaders. Other cities included Boston, Atlanta, Hartford, Los Angeles, Milwaukee, and St. Louis. But turnout varied significantly across the nation, with some targeted restaurants appearing to operate normally while others were unable to do business. At a Wendy's in New York City, about 150 workers and supporters stood outside chanting, "We can't survive on $7.25. Many workers say they cannot live on the minimum wage, which would net $15,000 a year for full-time work. But many know they are rarely scheduled for full working weeks. In North Carolina, about 30 fast food workers picketed outside a Little Caesars pizza restaurant. Julio Wilson said he earns $9 an hour and had worked there for about 6 months. He said that pay was insufficient to support himself and his 5-year-old daughter. In addition to advocating for $15 an hour, workers are calling for the right to unionize without interference from employers. In statements, McDonald's and Burger King worldwide said they did not make pay decisions as the majority of U.S. restaurants that operate as independent franchises. The firms have argued that raising entry-level wages would lead to higher overall costs and higher prices. President Francois Hollande of France on Friday offered strong support for international military action against the Syrian government supporting the Obama administration, just a day after the British Parliament rejected Prime Minister David Cameron's call for intervention. A chemical attack in the Damascus suburbs on August 21st, attributed by Western powers to Syrian government forces, must not go unpunished, Mr. Hollande said in an interview with Le Monde, the French daily newspaper. He says, otherwise it will be taking the risk of an escalation that would normalize the use of these weapons and threaten other countries. A military strike against government targets would have a dissuasion value and push the government of President Bashar al-Assad toward a negotiated political solution to the conflict, Mr. Hollande said, referring to France's explicitly stated goal. France has been outspoken in saying the government of Mr. Assad must be punished for the reported poison gas attack last Wednesday in which hundreds of people were killed. Although Mr. Hollande has presented no specific evidence linking Syrian government to the attacks, he has spoken confidently of his culpability. Parliamentary approval is not required for French military action, and Mr. Hollande has said his government was prepared to punish those responsible. France's determination contrasted sharply with the go-slowly approach of Germany. And I quote, "We are pressing for the United Nations Security Council to reach a common position and for the UN inspectors to conclude their work as soon as possible," said German Foreign Minister Guido Westerwelle in comments reported by a regional newspaper. Referring to German participation in a military strike, he said such participation was not requested of us and neither are we contemplating it. In a telephone call on Thursday with Mr. Hollande, Ms. Merkel said that while Germany rejects taking part in military action, she believed that the chemical weapons attack should not go unpunished. Mr. Hollande's interview appeared just a day after Mr. Cameron was handed a striking rebuke in the House of Commons, where Parliament rejected British military participation in any strike on the Syrian government. The Obama administration is nonetheless moving ahead. Despite doubts in Congress and among the American public, Pentagon officials said Thursday that the Navy had moved 5 destroyers, each equipped with Tomahawk cruise missiles, into the eastern Mediterranean Sea to prepare for a possible strike. The United States will continue trying to build an international coalition, Defense Secretary Chuck Hagel said today in Manila, the Philippine capital. Fire crews battling to keep a massive blaze from invading the heart of Yosemite National Park in California plan to take advantage of cooler temperatures earlier today to continue the progress they have made in slowing the advance of flames. The work by fire crews to get a better handle on the so-called rim fire comes ahead of a holiday weekend marking the end of the peak summer tourist season. The blaze in recent days has led to a decline in attendance at Yosemite. Much of the work on Thursday was devoted to preparing key roadside areas in the park and adjacent forests for controlled burning by hacking away excess vegetation before starting the risky, painstaking process of firefighting with fire, said U.S. Forest Service spokesman Dick Fleshman. Crews were set to spend the night conducting burn operations from the Hetchy Reservoir in Yosemite to areas deeper into the park in an effort to clear the rugged terrain of unburned trees and chaparral. The rim fire, which broke out on August 17, has burned in Yosemite and more extensively in the Stanislaus National Forest west of the park, had charred over 199,000 acres by late Thursday. The blaze raging through dry scrub and timberlands ranked as the 5th largest wildfire in California history, edging out the witch fire that ravaged parts of San Diego County in 2007. The fire was 32% contained. A total firefighting force of 4,297 was arrayed against the fire, which has cost $47 million to combat, according to figures from the multi-agency team handling the blaze. The weather was expected to help boost firefighting efforts overnight, with cooler temperatures slowing the fire's progress. But later today, hot weather and low humidity was set to take hold, which could hamper firefighting efforts. Some 4 million people visit Yosemite each year, most of them during the peak months of June through August. Park officials cited a noticeable decline in the crowds typically seen in late summer, but said they were unable to quantify the slump. The blaze has put a severe crimp in Yosemite area businesses whose proprietors were counting on a healthy summer season after last year's hantavirus outbreak frightened away many tourists. On the opposite end of the sprawling fire zone west of Yosemite, crews on Thursday fought to keep flames away from some 4,500 homes in a string of small communities along the fringe of Stanislaus National Forest, said California Department of Forestry and Fire Protection spokesman Dennis Matheson. Most of those dwellings were ordered evacuated or under advisories urging residents to leave voluntarily or be ready to flee at a moment's notice. A judge has been caught on camera springing from his chair and punching 2 fellow justices during a court case in Mexico. Justice Miguel Angel Falcon lashed out after arguing with the pair at Morelos State Appeals Court. He shouted at fellow judge Ruben Jasso and then attacked him as a court camera captured the moment. Court officials said Falcon had brought shame on the legal system and faces possible impeachment. Falcon apologized for his actions, saying, and I quote, "I feel sadness, shame, and regret, and well, I want to offer a very heartfelt apology to society and the media," he said. The lawyer who witnessed the attack called for him to resign. He says, and I quote, "This man's lack of discipline and capriciousness disrupted a serious session of the judiciary of the state of Morelos," said Miguel Angel Rosete. The violence follows a string of courtroom incidents that have blighted the reputation of Mexico's legal system. Commentators say prosecutors frequently bungle cases, introduce illegally guarded evidence, and make procedural errors and violate suspects' rights. You're watching Caribbean Affiliate News. We will be right back.
Take your car out. This is awesome.
It's time to grow up.
You're crazy.
Little while
Go faster. Stop.
it'll all be alright.
I raised my son to be careful,
Hey, sweetie. Hey, Mom.
but just to be safe,
So don't you worry.
I got a Subaru.
Love. It's what makes a Subaru a Subaru.
Coleman Subaru, 1710 North Alden Avenue, Ewing, New Jersey, or colemansubaru.com.